My weekly budget update is a few days late this week because I took some time off for a vacation, but now I'm back and ready to spill the tea about everything I did with my money last week. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name's Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If those are things that you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below because I'd love to hear from you. So today I'm going to do a weekly budget update that I normally do usually Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, but I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon because I just got home from a trip down to Portland to see a friend and some family. So I'm back and ready to talk about everything that happened in my budget last week. So let's open up the budget. And I will tell you right off the bat that even though May is over, I'm recording this on June 1st, my budget month is not over. My budget weeks run from Friday through Thursday, and because Friday was the 30th, I have one more week left of wallet spending for May before I can close out the budget. But we can certainly do some of it because the calendar has rolled over. Okay, so income. Paycheck 2 came in, and that was as expected. I do round this amount here, so it wasn't exactly 3,070. It was a little bit over that, and you'll see that in another worksheet. But for the purposes of this worksheet, that's what I put in. Cell phone reimbursement did not come in, and this is the second month in a row where it's been delayed. So I will be talking with accounting about that next week, but I have to scratch it. Last month, when that happened, I scratched it in April and I put it in as part of the carryover because it did come in May. But I was okay with that for that happening once, but now that it's happened twice in its pattern, I'm concerned. I'm concerned for my own cash flow and also for my company's cash flow. I don't know why that's happening. But I can close out this amount here for the income section because, like I say, I'm recording this on June 1st and I'm not going to get any more income. So let's add this here. And 2,700 for the carryover. So that was 88.40. So I ended up as expected, but this $100 difference here was actually the April cell phone reimbursement. I didn't get the May cell phone reimbursement yet, but I already paid both bills for the hardware and for the carrier. So, like I say, I'll investigate and we'll see what happened. Okay, and then we've got the bills, and Affirm did come in at 43 and Visible at 35. Those are the cell phone hardware and the carrier charges together. So I paid those already, and I should have had that $100, but I'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm going to add all of these up, and it shouldn't take too long here. So 2168, and I can actually total these here. So 8840, 2168. And that is a difference of $118. So let's see. So the water sewer garbage bill being lower is most of that. Everything else was either bang on or off by $5 here. Yeah, looks like that was the only difference. So all in all, pretty good. Cash spending will come back to, or wallet spending will come back to. Stockpiles, I did use 2,000 of this to go toward the big move. I did not do any of the rest, so that gives me 2,000 here. And I will talk about that $1,700 difference when I get to the end of May, or when I close out the month of May. That will be next week's budget update video. Okay, so instead of 3,700, I spent 2,000. Okay, savings and debt this week was $300 for the Roth IRA. So for the total for the month, we had 323, 302, 305, and 300, or 1,230. So we were over by 30 bucks, but that's okay. And then we'll talk about the wallet spending in a minute, but first let's go over to the cash flow tracker. I've already filled this in with the transactions that came through this week. There were only 3 of them. Paycheck 2 came in, and then I had the Affirm payment and also the $300 that I sent to my brokerage for my Roth IRA. And that was it. So if you haven't seen me do a budget update before, this is the tracker that I use to track the cash flow coming into and going out of my checking account, sort of like a check register. And I update this every single week just to make sure there's no funny business, there's no transactions I don't recognize, or amounts that don't match up with what I expect. And then I balance at the end of the month. So I've already done the totals here, and I checked it against my current balance, and it does balance. So this ending balance here, I've also written on the June tracker as the starting balance. So that is all set up to go. Okay, so now let's talk about expenses. And I did already input these as well. So I had quite a bit of food spending this week in the first part of the week. I went to McDonald's for coffee. I did DoorDash twice. I went to Safeway twice, which is a grocery store here. And then everything else is spending from my trip to Portland. So I went to Hudson at the Portland airport after I got off the plane, got some water and a snack. And then I got $10 added to my HOP card, which is the transit card in Portland. I went to a clothing store in Portland and spent $66. I needed some more undershirts, so I bought some of those there, as well as a t-shirt that I found on clearance, so that was $66. I went out to dinner with a couple of my cousins at a restaurant called Observatory. If you live in or near Portland and you've never been, I highly recommend it. The food was very good. I had Jamaican jerk chicken, and it was amazing. $59.50 for 3 people, not bad. And that includes the tip. And then weekly cash, I spent $55. This was the amount of cash that I had left over at the end of last week. And I just decided to do a cash bankruptcy again. And even though I had at least one five, there might have even been multiple fives, I'm just going to put that in the Christmas fund. And I will take out additional money for this upcoming week for my cash fund. Okay, so all of this spending together totals $416.18. So I need to write that in the budget sheet here. I had already done the addition so that I didn't have to do it on camera. And so I am over budget again. Part of it is just because of the vacation. Part of it is impulse buying. But I'm going to see how this next week shakes out. There is more vacation spending that still has to be accounted for in this week. And then I may use points to wipe off more transactions because I didn't do a good job of budgeting for the vacation. I did a good job of paying for the flight, the hotel, all of that. But for all the shopping that I did in Portland, a lot of that was unplanned or unbudgeted. So we'll see how the next week goes, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to get this to balance, because I do also have some leftover money here. Some of it I will roll into June, but some of it I may use to put toward that vacation, because like I said, with everything that's happened this month, I really needed it. I needed the vacation. Okay, so I can't total out the wallet spending yet because we have one more week, and I can't close the month yet because we have one more week. But when I do the month end close next week, we'll be in pretty good shape. Okay, so I'm going to break here. We'll talk about savings, but first we'll do the cash dump, which I always try to remember to do at the start of the video, and I didn't this time. So I'll do that, and then we'll talk about savings, and I'll be right back. Okay, here we are with all my cash pouches. This is the one that I keep my weekly spending money in, and as you can see, it is completely empty because the money that was in here either got spent or it got reallocated to the Letterbucks Savings Challenge. So this is empty. I'll need to replenish it for next week. And then we've got this is the one that I moved cash into. So let's start with the change. There is not much in here. Only a handful of pennies, I think. Yep. So all of 6 cents going into the Christmas fund here, which is one of the reasons why I decided to put the fives into the Letterbucks Challenge, because I knew I wasn't going to have a whole lot of coinage. So that goes into this bag here. I'm waiting to cash this in. When Amazon announces when Prime Day is, that's probably when I will exchange it for a gift card at Coinstar, so I don't have to pay the fees to have the coins counted. So that's the coins. And then for the bills, I have quite a bit going into Letterbucks this week. Let me get this fat stack out here. And like I say, I think there's more than 1 5 in here. In fact, I know there is. Yep. Okay, so just making sure there aren't any others. So into Letterbucks this week, I have 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, $22. So quite a healthy addition to the Christmas fund. And I am going to need it because I may actually have to raid this fund for birthday money. I've got a couple friends who have birthdays in June, and I usually do exchange gifts with them. So let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fives going into Letterboxd this month, which is good. Because like I say, I might need to use some of this money. So I will have the Letterboxd video out probably next weekend. So look for that probably on Saturday, June 7th, where I will put all of these dollar bills in toward the Letterboxd envelopes. And I think I have at least one of every letter this month. I'm not 100% on that, but I think I do. So that's it for the cash dump. And let's go back to the binder and talk about savings. Okay, here we are in the savings section of my binder. So I don't think I'm going to talk about the emergency fund or the blip fund this week, except suffice it to say that my emergency fund is fully funded for what I think I need in terms of an emergency fund. And the blip fund, I am doing everything I can not to tap this, even though I've had some overages or some unexpected expenses this month with everything that's been going on with my family. So trying to preserve that as best I can. If I do have to use it, then this will become the priority for refilling before I move on to other savings goals. So that's all I'll say about that. So let's talk about the big goal that I'm working on, one of them, which is the big move, or as this says, the big more. I don't know why it looks like more like a R than a V, but for now it's okay. But it's the big move, and I am doing this according to my monetization tracker or my YouTube subscribers tracker. And since I did this last time, I have picked up quite a few more subscribers. So thank you to all of you who have joined me along the way. And so I need to fill in 2 more of these. Each bubble represents 10 subscribers, and it also represents $50 towards my savings goal of the big move. If you are new and you don't know what the big move is, I am planning on moving to another state. I don't know yet which state that will be. Currently, I live in Washington State, and the taxes here are just getting to be obscene. So it's time to think about spreading my wings a little. I am not the best at coloring. I have said this many times on my channel, and it continues to be true to this day, as you can see by all the times I've gone out of the lines on this tracker. I am not fully caught up with where I should be on this tracker. As you can see on the right-hand side, I've contributed $2,000, and I should be closer to $2,500, but I will get caught up in June. And I also need to figure out another challenge to run concurrently with this one, and I've got a couple of ideas so that as this one will probably fill up slower, but I will still have more money to contribute to the goal, and I want to have another method for doing that. So for now, we're caught up here. I will get caught up here in June. So let's talk about the Roth IRA or the Sloth IRA, because I am taking it slow this year. In years past, I have fully funded my Roth IRA, in, I don't know, 6 weeks or something like that. I just made it my top goal through every dollar that I had toward it. And this year I'm taking it slower. So, and I did the same last year. And that I think works better, especially with the dip that we saw in the stock market earlier this year. The money that I was putting in at that time bought more shares. So all good. All right, so let's record the transaction. So on the 28th, or thereabouts, I believe it was the 28th, I contributed $300, which means that so far this year toward my Roth IRA, I've contributed $3,551. That means I'm halfway, more than halfway, toward the fully funded $7,000 for the year. So that's fantastic. So now I just need to mark out some of these sloths that I use to track my progress. 1, 2, each one's worth $100. 3. Okay. So like I say, halfway through the tracker. So that is excellent. I'm really pleased with that. I should have this fully funded by the end of summer. And then I will be able to concentrate more on the big move, which is the next big goal. Hopefully, I'll get that fully funded by ideally this time next year. And I'll be able to start looking at where I want to go and what I want to do. So that is it for the weekly update. Thank you so much for joining me and for your patience as I took some time off. I will be back on my regular schedule this coming week. So Monday night will be game night. That will be coming out as normal. On Wednesday, I will have the Savings Challenge books. Friday should be back here with another weekly update for the last week of my May budget, and the first week of the June bills and income and all of that. And then next weekend, I will have the Letterbucks challenge for May, and we'll be able to stuff all those dollar bills and some of the $5 bills into the Letterbucks challenge and see how many letters we can finish. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Subscribe if you're new. If you have a moment, please check out my Etsy shop. All of the worksheets that I use are available there, as well as some physical products that are savings challenges and savings challenge games and the like. I had a launch last week that has been well received so far, so thank you to all of you who support me in my Etsy shop. Again, the link is down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and until I see you in the next one, take care.